Hey, Brian.
Hey, Nick, how's it going? Good to see you again.
It's great. Well, you came to our offices and showed us some of Move a while back. So how's things going? It's very busy on this booth.
It's really busy. It's kind of overwhelming, but also a lot of fun. So, yeah, and right now, what we're demoing right now is Move 1.5. So it's currently in public beta, and there are some new features that I will be showing, and as well as Johannes, just like last time when we were in your studio.
Yeah, so... I mean, it's been interesting, isn't it? The kind of development of this, the idea. I've seen people in Berlin with them on their knees at sort of bus stops and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's obviously doing what you want it to do.
We love to see it. So yeah, it's been the Discord community has also been great. The community of users has been really nice about the feature requests, what they would like to see. And so we're trying to get in as many features as we can for every release. So with 1.5, I think we're finally delivering on some of those questions. I mean, we're constantly making updates, but we're quite excited about this one. So,
and these tie in with Note as well, is that right?
I think it's a slightly different release schedule. Okay. So, like for example, with Note, they just had the MIDI editor release, which went really well, which was something that was very much asked for. And I'm not quite sure how tied together they are now. Okay. So. I think it just depends on the...
So tell us what's going on with 1.5.
So in this particular case, rather than try to make a beat on the fly, I made this. I just sketched this beat out quick. And the way I did this was loading up samples. So right here I'm using our drum rack, and I loaded up a sample. The way I did this was... got to that drum kit, and... loaded that sample. If I hold shift and click on this, I can get into slice mode. So slicing now, using the jog wheel, it starts with 4 samples, but then I can also turn the wheel
you could do like
up to 16.
All right.
Yeah. And the fun part is, especially when you're sketching, so you have, you can change each of the pad starts, the start points, with the third encoder, but I can also just change the regions that I want to sample. So for example, if I only want to do a certain region here, and then let's say I reduce the slices, I can move the regions.
Right, nifty.
Yeah, so it's really fun for sketching, kind of staying in the flow for what I'm trying to do, and sometimes there's some happy accidents, sometimes I want to use the whole sample. So in this particular case, I did want to use the whole sample in the track that I built out, and I reduced it down to 8 samples, so I can just get this part. And then those are the samples I want to use, and I click the button, and it commits to the slices. So now when I hit the play button, okay, I don't have it armed, so... and I can just... I'm playing the samples through. And there's also 16 pitches here, so I go... so I can mess with...
Very Barry White, that is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been really fun. So this way, now that I have this whole scene going, I have it slide to that track already. And I can just really quickly start sketching beats, and then I can just start a new set, make more slices if I want, change up the samples.
And you can trigger more than one sample on a sample track at a time, can you? So you can do polyphonically, or if you wanted to kick in a snare?
It does slice that sample to that whole drum rack. So
okay.
Usually I'm using a longer sample in that case.
Right, gotcha.
But then I can also just... per drum pad and a drum rack, I could technically just put the sample and manually change the start and end points what you could usually do. But in this particular case, it's just like a nice shortcut to get those 16 slices in, change the regions.
Because you can resample from the output as well, so you could cut up a beat you've already made.
Exactly, yeah. And then it failed miserably when trying to figure it out, but also I can record myself and try to sample that and chop it up. And then so... anything you want to put into loading a drum rack, you can sample and change to up to 16 slices. And then you can also, one thing I didn't show is you can also fine-tune the samples. Oops. So for example, if I wanted to change the area, so you can see here, it's moving the start of that second slice.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
But if I really want to fine-tune, I can also click Shift and then really get into
really zoom in, right?
But for the most part, I really just kind of like going through and seeing what it gives me. If I just like, okay, what happens if I get 16, or what happens if I get 8, or just kind of changing the regions around. Yeah.
So and of course, if you know what the tempo is in the first place, it's obviously helpful.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting part, because sometimes I might not know what the tempo is, and I can just capture it. So, for example, in this case, before I had the drums, if I just go to an empty clip, I can just use the sample to trigger the up. And let's say I want 8 here, and then even though if I hadn't done the tempo yet, I could just commit to this and just follow the rhythm.
So you could sort of resequence it and then
I can capture it. And then we'll actually just capture to 1 bar, but ultimately...
I see what you mean, right.
Yeah, so I could play to the rhythm, capture it, quantize it, at least quantize the trigger, and see where it goes from there.
Neat.
So, yeah. So, and eventually you get this. And then one of the other things is, like, now I'm on the main track, we have the auto filter feature. So we have the new and updated auto filter coming to Move 1.5 as well as Live 12.2. So with the auto filter, there's different...
is that a track effect or a master effect?
It's a master effect, yeah. So for example, now we have like a standard DJ filter, so the filter type, and then also the control. So low pass to high pass. But then there's a lot of really fun ones as well. Like, for example, I really like this beat sync filter. So I can have my dry wet all the way to 100, but then I can change the frequency, and I can also change the LFO rate. So kind of just trying to, at this point I'm just tweaking knobs to see what kind of bounce it gives me. And then I can just turn it down if I want to get to where it was before, and then just add the effect as I need to. Kind of like more of a performative master effect. So, and then, but then there's also just different ways to experiment it. Let's see what happens here. So it has a very wobbly wah effect there, but then I can also just change the resonance to frequency, or just turn down the percentage on the wet knob. But yeah, so those 2 things that have actually really added to the playfulness of Move. So just the immediacy of sketching and slicing, and then also just using auto filter as an effect to kind of get some movement and bounce to the track. So it's been really fun, and looking forward to more. And then Johannes is going to jump in. He's going to show you all like the different things we can do with MIDI ins and outs now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the magic of editing, Johannes, who we also recognise from the Move launch video that we did at Sonic Towers, is going to tell us about some more features, right?
Right, so with the 1.5 beta, there's more stuff coming. At this point, I want to send out a shout out to the community on Discord, who are really asking us for more features, and we're listening. And one of the big things was that Move should talk better to other hardware.
Right.
So we really expanded the MIDI capabilities on Move. We have full MIDI in-out per track now, and we have MIDI-clock in. Oh, yeah, there's going to be another track in a minute. So how this works, so for Move, we've solved the MIDI topic. We have the USB MIDI connector, so you can connect any class-compliant USB MIDI device.
Right.
In this case, we're using the MiBlip Qubit Duo, and it's a 1 input, 4 output interface.
Keeping it in town, isn't MiBlip Berlin?
Yeah, it's Peter Kern.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, I think it's a great recommendation. But you can use any kind of MIDI interface with like different ins and outs. So the way we have it connected here is the Electron model cycles is running into the input, and what we want to do is follow the clock of the model cycles, and then in the second part I can show you the MIDI out. So there's one connection that goes to the microfreak, which you're going to control for Move, and then there's another connection to the Polyend synth.
Oh, right, okay.
And then we can control these independently from Move. So let's start with MIDI-clock. So let me open up the set that I want to use here. And I have to go to the settings menu. And now we have different MIDI sync options. So we have out, which worked before. So that was already available, but now we have MIDI sync in. And let's see what happens. Let me just go into the set real quick. Let me just stop everything. We start over here. Okay, so there's just a basic loop coming from the model cycles, and now we should be able to bring in other loops for move. Yeah, so got a basic drum loop going.
So the kick and snare and stuff are coming from this guy.
Yeah.
And then the
I think there's no kick here, just some samples to make it more
It's like tops, isn't it? Sounds
yeah,
like,
more like tops, so I didn't want to overwhelm the mix. But also they keep it simple so we can hear what's going on. So we can then obviously change tempo and move will follow.
So is that time stretching the tempo of the tops, or is that just sequencing?
No, there's no time stretching.
It's sequencing individual discrete.
Yeah, it's like individual drum
okay.
hits, so that's just following the tempo. Right, so that's MIDI-clock in, and you can jam with that, and then we can bring in more sounds and see how the MIDI out works. So let me play a bass line from Move. Right, so I think at the moment we're hearing two things. Interesting. Right, so there's an internal synth playing from Move, so that's where the bass line comes, but also we're sending MIDI out to the Microfreak. Yeah, you can hear like the kind of top part, the more resonant part. I'm running this from here, so I can show you here in the menu. You can go to Shift Track, and you have these different settings. I can, choose any channel for MIDI out. I can also change to MIDI in. But basically, that's what's happening here. Is we're hearing Move's internal synth,
and that at the same time,
and the other synth, and I can mute that. So now we're only hearing the Microfreak. Or I can bring this in. So it's quite flexible in terms of if you want to use the internal sounds or just sequence external sounds. And let me bring in a second one. So here on track 3, we have a pad sound that's coming from Move, and it's also sending it on channel 3 to the poly end synth over here. So it can turn up the filter here a little bit. So again, we're hearing both. I can just
maybe turn the poly.
It's quite subtle, but
I hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
So I mean, because I guess a lot of this up to now has been sort of almost around the kind of mobile composition and sort of jamming phase, but this is bringing it more into the heart of maybe a live performance system, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of the idea we started with, or the vision we wanted to focus on is like something portable, immediate. You can, take it on the couch or on your vacation, on stage. But of course, we want to also make it work really nice with other hardware. So you can use it as a sequencer, but also as a sound module, because I think it has really nice sounds. And some people, we've seen videos now with the beta, they're using a sequencer like the Torso T1 or Oxy 1 or Arturia BeatStep Pro, and then you can sequence all the individual tracks on Move with different inputs. So it's really flexible, and I think there's just a lot more you can do.
And portable, I guess there's a thing, people like to have a small amount of kit to carry around. Which is, you can just kind of choose if you want to use the internal standalone thing. You can capture sequences into it, play with other gear. Start-stop sync works. I can just, play it again and everything. Which, of course, obviously the next question is, it would be great if we could have some more external MIDI tracks on top of the 4 internal tracks, because then you could, build quite a big system.
It's definitely something we discussed. We started, again, with a pretty simple starting point. For now, you have these 4 tracks, and you can flexibly route them. We might look at this, actually.
Okay, all right,
but
cool.
It's not there yet.
So this is in public beta.
Yes.
And then what next phase goes to release, I guess, right?
Exactly. Couple of weeks, month, whenever it's ready. Early summer, I think that's what we're looking at.
Free update for existing.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, it's the 5th update already, 1.5. We had 1.1, 1.2, 3, and 4. Like, we're doing these every 2 months, roughly, actually. And there's a lot coming. I mean, we added USB-C sampling, all the MIDI functionality, so it's really growing, and we're investing into the platform.
Excellent. Thank you very much.